Hey everyone, I'm Mine, and this is set number 71461, Fantastical Tree House from the LEGO Dreamzzz theme. This set contains 1,257 pieces as well as 4 minifigures and 3 tiny figures, or midi-figures, or whatever you want to call those guys. The little figures who are between the size of a minifigure and a microfigure. And this set will retail for $109.99 in the US as well as $105.99 in most places in Europe. This set does not officially release until August 1st, 2023, but it was sent to me early by the LEGO group through the LEGO Ambassador Network, but all opinions expressed in this video are my own. Every LEGO Dreamzzz set includes some sort of alternate build, and I will be covering both builds in this video. So make sure to watch all the way through if you want to see how the different builds look. Also make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let me know in the comments which LEGO Dreamzzz set you want to see an early review on next. I'll be doing early reviews of all the LEGO Dreamzzz sets, so I'm going to be doing the most requested ones first. So make sure to let me know which ones you guys want to see, but now let's get into the review. So here's the Fantastical Tree House, and if you saw my reaction video when these sets were initially revealed, as well as my unboxing video for these sets, I was not particularly excited for this one. Now I never thought it looked bad by any means, but I was just like, yeah, it's a $110 set. And even though there's some cool aspects to it, it's just not for me. And having it all built up now, I'm still not super passionate about it. It's not my favorite set of the wave, but it is a lot better than I was expecting. And there is a lot of quite cool things here. There are definitely a few things they could have done differently to maybe make me like this set a little bit more. But I'd say all things considered, I'm pretty happy with it. And I think for kids especially, this is a fantastic set for play because there's just so many fun things to do here. Obviously, you can see this set is massive. It's a very vertical set. So let's take a look at everything up a little bit closer. So starting at the base of the build, you can see there's actually no entrance to the main treehouse right here. The first door is up a level higher. Rather, we just have a bit of natural terrain. First, right here, we have this little plant with teeth, and this reminds me a lot of the piranha plants from Mario. But it's got this little mushroom head on the top, and that is a printed part, which is really cool to get in this set. And you can see the mouth of this creature can actually open up. So that way, if you want, you can put a figure inside and have the plant actually eat it. And you can see the plant itself can actually swivel, which is a lot of fun too. Over here on the right side of the plant, there's just a few stones for walkways, a little mushroom as well as 2 spray paint bottles, which I assume is used for some of the little buildings and signs in this set. Coming the other direction, there's again more of a walkway, some of those round jumper pieces to be able to pose minifigures really easily. And then on the other end right here, we have a little mushroom shop. So that's of course for the dreamling mushroom that comes in this set. You can see there's a sign out front with all the different prices, and hidden behind him there's a few different types of mushrooms. This one's spring green and sand green, this one's just a classic white and red, and there's even some smaller ones back here which are just studs with tiles on top of them. You also get a stickered flag piece right here. There's a total of 3 of these in this set, and you can see there's a different sticker on each side. And then there's a sign right above this area which can be moved in and out, and you can see it's got a picture of the mushroom guy on it. Hey, small correction I noticed when editing, there's actually supposed to be an arrowhead right here because the sign's meant to be pointing towards the shop. That piece must have fallen off at some point, I just didn't notice while filming my review. But yeah, there's that for you. Then if we want to get up to this next level, you can see there's a ladder right here. Now this is actually pretty cool because this is a ladder that also doubles as a railing. So if you want to have a figure come out of this door and just stand on this porch right here, you can put the railing up for them to be able to lean on it. And that's the same thing with this railing on the other side too. You can lean this down and turn it back into a ladder if you want. Obviously the plant's in the way right here, but if you want to, you could just completely remove that because that thing just connects on with a few jumper pieces. So yeah, there's definitely lots of options just to mix things up. We've got another stickered sign piece right here on one of the Unikitty cloud pieces, and this one has blue and yellow arrows on it, which matches the blue and yellow spray paint cans that we saw at the bottom. There's also a few of these street signs all throughout the set. First, of course, there's this one right here that says Lucid Lane. Then coming to the other side of where the railings were, you can see there's another 2 spray paint cans, this time in blue and purple, and those match the colors in the little mushroom guy's sign. Then there's a street sign for Snooze Street right here. Of course, there's that door that leads into the interior, though we'll take a look at the interior in a little bit. And then above that, there's a sign with the Dream Chasers logo on it, as well as these blue vines coming out of it, to show that this treehouse is the headquarters for all the characters. We've got this funky little bird build sitting on the tree right here, and I absolutely love this guy. He is so silly looking, but he's just got these huge eyes on the side and this really long tail. He is just so funny. I mean, come on, just look at him. Above him, you can see there's yet another street sign, this time for Dream Drive. And then also, this is where we get into the individual rooms for the different characters. So starting on the left side right here, we have this little room for Izzie. You can see she's got a sign right here very similar to the one at the mushroom place, and it's got her name right here as well as an arrow pointing towards the building. I really like how she uses trans yellow window pieces here. Those are super cool. And combined with the trans pink too, it looks amazing. Then she's got 2 little balloons coming out of the side. And the inside you can see a little bit, but it is a little tough to get to. However, you can actually remove these individual rooms, so I'm going to take Izzie's off right now. And now you can have a much better look at it separate from the build. You can see there's not a ton going on in her room. It looks like she has some sort of food right here with vanilla icing on it, as well as a party hat piece on top of a star. Then the roof has more of these fence gates as well as these blue leaf pieces with gems coming out of them. And you'll see in a moment, but those same pieces are used on the leaves of the actual tree in this set, so it makes sense for those to be there. There's a bar connection at the back of this build, and that's of course how it connects to the tree, because with it removed, there's just a clip right here and then just this very open section. This is also the part of the treehouse where you see our very first tree branch, and I love the colors of the leaves in this set. They're just the normal LEGO blue with this lighter blue on top of them. And I mentioned this in one of my LEGO Monkey Kid reviews earlier this year, but the normal LEGO blue, despite being a super common LEGO color, when it's used in the right context, feels actually very elegant, and this is one of those sets. It looks so beautiful here despite being such a common color, and man, it just fits everything so well. But yeah, all the different branches on the tree use these exact same leaf builds, but they just look fantastic. and really give the set its own identity. They also use these new, like, Power Blast pieces coming down. These are all new for this wave and come in quite a few sets, but I think they really do a fantastic job just to increase the overall cover of everything. And the fact that they're transparent too really helps to add to the whole dreamlike feel. Now coming to the other side of the tree and moving back up a little bit, next we get to Mateo's room. So you can see Mateo's room is obviously Z-blob themed, so it's green and it's got like this goo dripping down. He's got a sign out front too, it just says his own name and then says Tree House. Not sure why there's the ellipsis there, but that's a little bit funny. And this also looks like it's meant to be a brick-built Z-blob face. So we're gonna remove this one too so we can take a look at it up a little bit closer. I really like these little brick-built pillars he has here, and the windows on the side are open, which would have been cool if we got trans bright green lenses here to match with these trans bright green pieces, but I suppose that's not the biggest deal. And then around the back, of course, that same bar connection. And then inside, there's like a big sign or TV or something. I think it's just meant to be a big sign with like graffiti on it, and it just says the word sleep, except the S in sleep's been replaced by a Z. Because yeah, of course, this is LEGO Dreamzzz with 3 Z's in case you've forgotten. They seem to like to remind you in a lot of these sets. The roof of this building's not all too complex. There is stud shooters up here, which may seem a bit odd, but of course this is a LEGO Dreamzzz set and there is alternate builds in this set, so these are more prominently featured in the alt build for this. But I do like how they repurpose them as a chimney here, because they actually work surprisingly well. And of course, yeah, you can still shoot the studs out if you want. There's how the treehouse looks with Mateo's room removed, and if we move to the right a little bit, you can see there's another branch right here. Once again, that same leaf piece coming off as I mentioned, but here's another one of those red flags like I talked about before. And what this build actually is a gigantic swing that hangs all the way down from that branch, and you can see there's a little seat at the bottom for a minifigure to sit. So if I want, I could put Mateo or any other minifigure on there, let go of it, and he just swings back and forth. That's simple, but I really love that, because that's the exact kind of thing I know I would have had so much fun playing with as a kid, just whenever sets had easily moving parts that weren't like too complex to use. And I think it would have been extra fun, because like, yeah, when I was a kid, I liked playing on the swings myself, so if I was able to have my minifigures do it too, it's genuinely just super cool. Like, look at that. Alright, I'll sit here doing this all day if I don't move on to the next part of this review, but that's probably my favorite play feature in the entire set. So now moving up the tree a bit more, you can see there's another branch coming out the side, and there's another one of the signs with an arrow on it that just says the word sleepy. That's of course pointing to the next quote-unquote room in this set. I don't know if this one's technically a room, it's more of just a little shop. And here we actually have a little shop for Mrs. Castillo. First, hanging below the shop, there's a sign for Siesta Ave, and the shop itself is a picture of her on it as well as this pastry around it. Now this to me kind of looks like a donut or a bagel, however I don't believe that's what she was selling in the show, but that seems to be what the shop's themed around unless I'm like missing something really obvious. But yeah, she's got a face in the center of this food right here and then these little disc pieces around it, and this entire section once again can be removed so we can look at it up a bit closer. Looking inside here, there's a spinning disc piece where I guess you could just attach minifigures, so that way if you want Mrs. Castillo in here you can have her like turn from one part to the other. Then it looks like some sort of sandwich is being prepared in the back, and then we've got a bunch more of those disc pieces right here. You can see there are multiple different colors, all the same colors that are on the side, and they load into this dish shooter right here. Now I believe this dish shooter is actually meant to be a little toaster, because you're meant to put the bread in the top and load it up, and then once cooked and ready you push down this lever on the side and it shoots out. That is actually really creative, and the build here is pretty well done. You can see there's even like a little timer on the side, and that just connects in with the clip, so you can remove it and use it on its own if you want. And then again, there's what that section of the treehouse looks like with that removed. Then coming to the very top, we just have a few more branches with the same leaf builds, and more of those Power Blast pieces hanging down. And then there's also some more stuff up here, so now let's turn this around and actually take a look at the interior. And for this section, we'll go from the top down. So to start, there's a little crow's nest at the top with the final of those 3 flags, again the same 2 stickers on each side, and there's a ladder to climb up to it too, 2 more of the spray paint cans, and then of course this telescope looking out. Then there's this ladder that hangs off the side, which of course can get up and down from this level. And moving down 1 level, we come to Mateo's bedroom. He's got a stickered poster of Z-Blob on the wall, and there's also a sticker for his bed sheets, where he's got some blankets, a pillow, and a little notebook. And he also has green and lime green spray paint cans. Then of course another ladder right here to get up and down from this level. And below that we have Izzie's room, where there's a poster of Bunchu on the wall. She has stickered bed sheets as well with like a little book on them. And there's a printed pizza piece in the corner too, as well as like this little mushroom build. Then we've got yet another ladder to get to the next level below. This is like the main floor that has the door that leads to the outside. But on the inside you can see there's a stickered TV, and it looks like it's playing the Bunchu TV show, which if you've seen the Dreamzzz TV show, you'll know that in universe the plush bunny that Izzie carries around is supposedly from a TV show, so this presumably is that show. And in front of the TV there's a couch built with room for 2 minifigures to sit. Then behind that couch you have 1 more ladder leading to the final level, and this is just meant to be a little kitchen. You can see there's an oven built into the wall, and there's this thing sitting inside. If we remove that, you can see this is actually meant to be a tray with cookies on it, and that of course can be inserted back into the oven to actually bake those cookies. Now in case you couldn't tell, the individual rooms for each of the characters can be rearranged. So just for example, here is one alternate orientation with everything moved around, and here is another option, and then here is everything back to normal. So overall, yeah, I think this build's pretty great. For older collectors, the set definitely looks cool, so if this is like the aesthetic you vibe with, I think you will really like this set. However, just for me personally, it's not my favorite. I like the leaves of the tree itself, and the mushroom stuff at the bottom is really cool, but the designs of the individual rooms and the interiors, just not really my thing. That being said though, for kids especially, I think this is a fantastic build, just because it is everything you'd want in like a home base for your characters. You have individual bedrooms for each of the characters, as well as like their own little bases on the outside, and this thing is just so full of life. Now there is of course also the alternate build in this set, which we'll take a look at in just a moment. However, first I want to take a look at the side build of this set, and then we'll come back to the treehouse and look at its alternate build. Or actually side builds, there's two side builds in the set, I almost forgot about this one. But here we have like this little mailbox monster guy, which I don't know what the context of him is going to be in the show. I don't believe he's ever appeared in the show yet, but he's very silly, I really like him. He uses just like this classic LEGO box piece as a mouth, and you can see he holds a little letter inside. So that way the characters get mail in the dream realm, you can just put it into his mouth right here. He's got like the flag on the side to indicate whether he has mail or not, and a little propeller around the back too. Then his legs are individually posable, as well as the arms around the side, which just use the LEGO robot arm pieces, with the claw pieces inserted into them so you can spin the claw hands too. So yeah, this guy's kind of just like a fun bonus character to have. Not sure his point, but I really like him. He's super cute. And then the other side build in this set is a little more significant. It's actually a creature for the bad guys, and it's this nightmare creature with wings and a cage in the middle of its chest, and I believe this is basically just meant to be a downscaled version of the Grimkeeper, which is another set from this wave that I actually reviewed earlier today, so go check that out if you haven't yet. But yeah, it uses the exact same printed faceplate, and they both have like cages in their chest. The only difference is the full-size Grimkeeper does not have wings around his back. But yeah, I think the Grimkeeper set's incredibly overpriced, so this is a nice alternate way to get him, because you still get the concept behind the character, however, this is just in a much better price set. Good bit of articulation, you can see each individual foot's on a mini ball joint, so you can have this guy sort of waddle around. Then the arms connect onto mini ball joints, and the hands themselves are also able to rotate, and the claws are big enough to like grab onto a minifigure if you want. The head's also on a mini ball joint, and that is a printed piece for it, as I mentioned. I will say it does look better in the bigger Grimkeeper, but it does work for this guy as well. And I like the new tendril pieces that he uses too. Though we just got a couple of bull horns coming out the back, and then these two gigantic wings. Now these wings can be posed individually and once again are on mini ball joints, so you can maybe get some extra expression out of this guy using the wings. And then the cage in the center of his chest is kinda too big to fit a minifigure. You probably could get one in if you really crammed it in there. Something like that, like yes, he's sitting down, he's awkwardly placed, but he is technically in there even if he's falling out the back. But I guess if you want to put a minifigure in there, that is an option you have. However, the tiny figures fit in there a lot better, so you can place one of those in, close it back up. So yep, I always love when we get villain builds. And this guy's adorable, but also expressive. Don't really have any complaints from me. Okay, but now let's get back to the treehouse to talk about the alternate builds in this set. So the way alternate builds of LEGO Dreamzzz sets work is a bit different from sets from other themes, because the entire set doesn't rebuild, instead it's just a part of the set. So for example, in this set there was 13 total bags. Bags 1 through 10 were just the main treehouse, and then bags 11 through 13 were each of the individual rooms on the outside. So the Izzie room, the Mateo room, and then the Mrs. Castillo bagel shop. So the alternate build in this set is only for those 3 rooms. The rest of the treehouse stays exactly the same. Now something kind of interesting about this set particularly that's actually not the case with even the other LEGO Dreamzzz sets is there's 3 different rebuilds, right? One for each room. And I'm going to rebuild all 3 at once. However, you don't have to do that. You can pick and choose on each individual room. The alternate build of this set still only uses bag 11 for Izzie's room, bag 12 for Mateo's room, and bag 13 for Mrs. Castillo's. So if you want to do the original version for Izzie's room, but then the alternate build for Mateo's room, that is an option you have. As such, there is a bunch of different combinations between alt build and original build, and I can't show you them all in this video because I'd be constantly building and rebuilding. So I'm just going to take all 3 rooms apart and rebuild them into the alternate builds right now. But I just wanted to let you guys all know that that is an option. Before we get to that though, real quickly, let's take a look at the instructions in this set. And you can see that just like all the other LEGO Dreamzzz sets, the instructions are fully illustrated on the cover. So much life in this build too, like there's so much going on. They're fighting the bad guys, the like mushroom monster's been driven out of the ground, Z-Blob has tied up the Grimkeeper, genuinely just incredible art. And then here's the page where you have to decide about like what type of build you want to do. Of course, here's the builds we just looked at up here, but you can see the alternate build's like more defensive. Each one has like some sort of weapon, while in the original build it's all a lot more casual. Also, like you get the sticker sheet, you can see the set comes with a bunch of extra stickers you can put wherever you want. This is not the case with every set this way, but there are a bunch of sets this way that do this, and that's sweet. It just gives you more options for customizability, but it's totally unnecessary. You don't need to use them at all. But okay, now that I've looked at all of that, let's get this thing rebuilt. Okay, and here's the alternate build of the treehouse all put together. As I mentioned now, each of the individual rooms is more like offense-based. There's different kinds of weapons on each of them to fight against the enemies. You can also see the default placement of the rooms is slightly different. Mrs. Castillo's shop is on the bottom now instead of on the top. Izzie's room is in the middle instead of on the bottom. And then Mateo's room is at the top instead of on the side. However, just like with the original build, you can customize that orientation. You can put any of the rooms at any location. This is just how they say to do it in the instructions. Starting with Mrs. Castillo's area, she keeps that same toaster build, however now it's turned on its side. That way it properly works as a disc shooter to shoot at the enemies and it doesn't just shoot the discs up in the air. And there you go, now you can have her turn with the turret and actually shoot the discs out just by pushing this lever on the side down. Not much else to this one. You can see there's a storage area on the side for the extra bagels, however, it's really easy for them to fall out, which is a little bit unfortunate. And you can see there's still that stickered sign piece in the back, as well as like some condiments, I assume. Now coming to Izzie's room, she still has that same brick built sign, however now it's at the top of her room. There's two like little imaginary cannons at the bottom, or at least I assume that's what they're supposed to be. Then you can see the balloons that used to be at the front are actually now giant flick missiles. So of course you push in on them, or flick them if you can actually get your fingers in there, and they'll just shoot out of the wall. The balloon pieces are huge, so that actually makes these quite heavy compared to just standard LEGO flick missiles, so you might actually be able to do some good damage to the enemies with these. Not gonna bother taking everything else off though, because the rest of the interior is basically the same. She still has like that little cake in there as well as the party hat. And then finally coming up to Mateo's room, the interior is similar. You can see there's still that like TV screen or like painting or whatever in the back. But the walls here are just a lot uglier. Just completely open from this side, tons of studs just in the background. And then this wall looks fine, I guess, but it's just tiny. And that's just mainly to make room for this giant play feature in the center. And yeah, this is of course a double stud shooter. It's got two stud shooters on the side, you can push down on them, shoot the studs out. You can see there's two studs in the middle too where you can have Mateo actually sit. And as you can see, this can rotate from side to side. But yeah, there's not much else to this one. At the roof at the very top, this is where the spray paint cans were moved to, and there's just like some Z-blob goo stuff up here. And that's about everything there is to the alternate build of the Majestic Treehouse. Personally, I think I prefer the more like whimsical fun vibe of the original build to this more like defensive version, but I can definitely see some value in this, so I think it just comes down to whichever you prefer. Both are worth building. And as I said, yeah, you can mix and match. You could do like two of the rooms of this version and one from the original, or the other way around. It's entirely up to your own discretion. But I think that's about all I have to say on the build of this set, at least for now. I'll talk about it all a little bit more at the end of this video. For now, let's take a look at the minifigures that come in this set. So here are the first two minifigures in this set. We have Mateo and we have Izzie. Now both of these figures are fantastic, and this is the complete version of these two, which is very nice to see because they don't come with their complete version in every set. Starting with Mateo, he is the most common minifigure of this entire wave. I believe he comes in a total of 6 sets, and this is the 6th set I'm reviewing that comes with him, so I've talked about this guy many times already on the channel. But in short, I do really like this one. The one green eye that ties in with Z-blob is very unique, and I like how he has the printed green streaks in his hair too. Speaking of his hair, it's a fantastic new molded part, so much texture to it. I definitely hope to see it in more colors in the future. The bright green on the cape looks nice, and I actually really like this jagged edge the cape has too. Just gives him a very unique look. His leg print too is incredible. I really like that we have dual molded legs here with like these jeans and shoes. And his accessory is a really creative build with like this giant pencil weapon. There's a full look at his face with the hairpiece removed, and there's a full look at his alternate face as well. And then flipping the cape piece up, there's a full look at the back torso print too. And then we have Izzie, who's probably my second favorite minifigure of this entire theme and one of my favorite minifigures of this year. She is just incredible, and that is in large part due to this hairpiece. That hairpiece is awesome. It's dual molded in like sparkly blue and the sparkly purple color. Someone in my comments pointed out that the sparkly blue in there is very similar to Energy Nia. And yeah, that's a great comparison. It's like Energy Nia if she had 2 different colors in her hair. But even on top of the colors, just the texture and everything's incredible too. Just such a fantastic new part. It makes this figure feel so elegant. But there's even more to this figure than just that hairpiece. I love this face print with like the smiling, laughing. There's just so much personality, and that's an emotion we don't see captured in LEGO minifigures all too often. She also uses the Praetorian Guard armor in lavender, which is a fun new recolor. And that torso print to me almost feels kind of Ninjago-esque. Like obviously not the colors and everything, but I don't know, the way the armor's actually on her, those kind of feel like assets that could be used on a Ninjago character. I really like the little sparkles though, those are a fun touch. And there's a look at her back torso print too. It gives me like Ninjago Season 4 vibes, right? Tournament of Elements. Maybe that's just me though. There's a look at her alternate face too. And then her leg print, once again, just like Mateo, it's dual molded, so that way it shows that she actually has pants and shoes on. Waist cape too is a super nice touch, Star Wars fans could never, but it fits its character perfectly. And oh, I almost forgot to mention her accessory too, this all new sword piece. This looks incredible, dual molded in gold and trans blue, and it's just a super sleek blade. There's a stud at the front if you want to attach something, and unfortunately there is not a bar connection underneath. I saw someone ask about that in one of the previous videos, but no, you can't attach anything down there. But yeah, all around amazing minifigure. Really happy with this one. Then here's the next minifigure in the set, Mrs. Castillo, as well as our first midi figure or tiny figure or whatever you want to call these guys, the Dreamling mushroom. I ran a poll on YouTube yesterday, and you guys liked tiny figure more than midi figure. I know midi is a little confusing and it does sound a lot like mini, but I personally prefer that one because that's terminology we already use in the LEGO community. But I don't know, until we get an official name for this scale, I'm just going to be calling them all the names in the book. Anyway, Mrs. Castillo is actually really cute. Very weird new body piece for her. It's just like one solid dress piece, and then she uses like the LEGO Super Mario character arm pieces. But you know what? It kind of works in my opinion. But I do like the actual design on her torso with all the different necklaces, and actually I just noticed there's like a very subtle lotus flower in white at the bottom right there. I actually did not notice that the first time I looked at the figure. I don't even know if you guys could see it on camera. But yeah, it's super subtle, but such a a nice touch. She also has a brick built backpack around the back, and this is a slightly different build than she comes with in the other sets. So it's neat to see that they mix that up. And then of course she comes with this staff as an accessory that has an hourglass at the top, as well as one of the leaves of the tree and a gem at the top. Face print's super cute too, with these red glasses, and she's like smiling and squinting, and her alternate face, she has a much wider smile. And then the Dreamling mushroom is really, really weird. This guy's actually kinda cute. I wasn't expecting to find him cute, but I don't know, I kinda like him. He has this printed mushroom cap piece at the top, which is actually useful for custom builds. If you want to like populate an area with mushrooms, you can use that part. But yeah, the face print I actually don't mind. And I like the metallic gold spores on him. Those are very fun. Turning him around, you can see he does have a back head print, which is more of those metallic gold spores. And then his body is just that like tiny figure body, which is definitely very weird, but I'm slowly getting used to them. And then here's our final good guy figure in this set, the like actual figure version of Z-Blob. And this guy's like half cute, half weird. I do like the slime piece at the top, awesome to get that reprinted, and it does come in a few sets this way, which is very nice. But then the rest of him is literally just solid green with 2 eyes. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Is this creepy or is this cute? Because I honestly go back and forth. He also comes with this giant bright green vine piece that I guess you could just wrap around enemies and whatnot to capture them. And of course he can hold bar connections underneath his arms. And then the final 2 figures in the set are the Night Hunter and Snivel. Now the Night Hunter is another one of the best minifigures of this theme. He just looks so cool. He's got this all new molded hat piece with a yellow eyeball at the front, and the hat's all tattered too, as well as a new rubber scarf piece that has like a hand coming off of it. Then you can see he's wearing like a biker jacket, and he's got this white shirt underneath with like these magenta arrows on it, and everything's just tattered, and he's also got these silver chains that run down into his legs. Taking a look at his back torso print, you can see there's chains continue, and there's actually a yellow eyeball in the center of all of them. And then of course in terms of accessory, it comes with this brick built crossbow, which again has a yellow eye at the front, implying that this crossbow is actually alive. But despite only being built out of a few parts, I actually think it works really well. His face print too is fine, it's just the generic Grimmspawn face print, because it's covered up most of the time with the scarf, so that makes it feel a lot less generic. And then Snivel is a really freaky looking one. He uses the big fig Thanos head, so his head's like the same size as his body, and his head's sort of meant to be like a bomb, so it's got like this pink flame coming off of it. That is a really cool color for that part, and I do like the torso print where again he has a yellow glowing eye, but that face print is disturbing. You can see there's nothing in terms of printing around his back, and he does come in quite a few sets this way, but still nice to get here, so I'm pretty happy with him. And so, overall, what are my thoughts on this set? In my opinion, honestly, this set's really good. As I've stated a few times in this review, this is not necessarily a set for me. Like, I still like it and can appreciate that it's good, but if LEGO hadn't sent this to me, I probably would pass up on it just because it's not really my taste. But because obviously LEGO did send it to me, I got the chance to take a look at it, and I can acknowledge there's a lot of really great stuff here. I think this is one of the sets that's especially good for younger audiences. There's just so much fun for play. From the different rooms to the swing on the side to the little shops. I feel like there's so much you could do with just this set. Great minifigure selection too, you get both main characters of the show as well as Mrs. Castillo, and a good number of bad guys to fight, 2 actual figures and then 1 brick-built one. And it's just nice to have a home base for your characters too. Of like the 3 big LEGO Dreamzzz sets, I would say this is definitely better than the Space Bus, but I prefer the Shark Ship to this one. And then also the price is actually pretty good on this, I feel. Almost 1,300 pieces for $110. And even if you don't care about price per part, the actual scale here is pretty good. It's a huge set. And 7 total figures too. Yeah, in my opinion, it's just a really solid package all around. So if you've got the money and the set interests you, I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's actually really well made. But of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this set in the comments below. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let me know in the comments which LEGO Dreamzzz set you want to see an early review on next. But as for this video, I think that's about all I have to say, so thanks for watching everybody. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!